Have you ever noticed that when people feel anxious, many of them turn to prayer? But here's the question we're asking today. Is prayer just psychological comfort, or does it actually change the brain? And even more interesting, could prayer reduce anxiety in ways that neuroscience can actually measure? Let's explore that together. What is anxiety in the brain? To understand prayer, we first need to understand anxiety. When you feel anxious, a key part of your brain, the amygdala, becomes more active. It acts like an alarm system. It scans for danger, even when there may not be any. It triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response. At the same time, another part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, helps you think logically, regulate emotions, and calm yourself down. Anxiety often increases when the amygdala is overactive. The prefrontal cortex is underengaged. So the question becomes, can prayer influence this system? What happens in the brain during prayer? Researchers studying practices like prayer and meditation have found some consistent patterns. During certain types of prayer, activity in the amygdala decreases, so there is less threat response. Activity in the prefrontal cortex increases, so there is more emotional regulation. Therefore, the brain may shift toward a calmer, more focused state. Some studies also show involvement of the default mode network, which is related to self-reflection, meaning-making, thinking about one's place in the world. This is important because anxiety often involves rumination, which is thinking about something over and over again, worry about the future, self-focused negative thinking. Prayer, especially when structured, may redirect attention and reframe experience. The type of prayer matters. Not all prayer is the same, and this is where psychology becomes really interesting. Researchers often distinguish between repetitive or structured prayer. Similar to meditation, can slow breathing and heart rate. Promotes calm and physiological regulation. Conversational prayer. Talking to God as a relational other can reduce feelings of isolation, may increase perceived support. Reflective or meaning-focused prayer focuses on purpose, forgiveness, gratitude, can shift the interpretation of stressful events. From a psychological perspective, these forms of prayer may work through attention regulation, emotional processing, cognitive reframing, or changing negative thinking to more helpful thinking, socia and relational perception, even if the other is not physically present. Prayer and anxiety reduction. So what does the research suggest? Prayer may reduce anxiety through several pathways. Biological reduced amygdala activation, increased parasympathetic calming response, cognitive reframing problems, increasing sense of control or surrender, emotional increased hope, reduced loneliness, existential greater sense of meaning and purpose. Now, as psychology students, we need to ask an important question. Are these effects unique to prayer? Or could they be explained by general psychological processes? For example, is it attention and breathing? Is it belief? Is it perceived relationship and support? Is it meaning-making? Different psychological perspectives will answer this in different ways, and that's where your thinking comes in. So today we explored something fascinating. Prayer is not just a spiritual activity, it may also be a psychological and neurological process. But the deeper question remains, does prayer change the brain because of how it works psychologically or because of something beyond psychology? That's not something psychology can fully answer, but it is something you can think about. Here is an optional extra credit assignment you might want to do. Write a one-page response, approximately 300-500 words, addressing the following. Part 1. Summary. Briefly summarize the key ideas from this video. This should be the shortest part of your paper. Focus on how prayer may influence the brain and anxiety. Part 2. Personal relevance. How relevant is this information to your own life? Have you or people you know used prayer or similar practices to cope with stress or anxiety? Do you think the effects are primarily psychological, spiritual, or both? Explain your reasoning. You are not required to share anything deeply personal. Instead, you should focus on thoughtful reflection.